everyone. Today's book is about George's friend. We can see that George has a new friend today, Richard Rabbit. Both George and Richard are holding dinosaurs. Maybe that's why they have become good friends. Let's find. Where has Peppa and George come today? That's right, they're at the playground. Peppa, Susie Sheep and Daddy Dog are on the roundabout. Pedro Pony is on the slide. There's a swing and there's a tire swing. Also there's a seesaw. George is in the sand pit and Mummy Pig is playing with him. Everyone hears a sound. Squeak, squeak. Rebecca Rabbit has brought her baby brother, Richard Rabbit. But who is making that sound? Squeak, squeak. It's Richard's toy dinosaur. See, he has a red toy dinosaur. Rebecca asks, "Hey, can I please play on the roundabout too?" Daddy Pig says, "Sure, Rebecca, hop on." Richard also wants to go on the roundabout with his sister. Rebecca says, "Let's go really fast, please." But Peppa says, "If Richard gets on the roundabout, then we cannot go fast." Mummy Rabbit comes up with an idea. She says, "Richard, perhaps you would like to play with George instead." Richard is not happy. He says no. Mummy Rabbit says, "But George also has a dinosaur. Can we go and see it, please?" Richard and George are of the same age and they both love dinosaurs. Mummy Rabbit says to George, "Richard wanted to see your dinosaur." George shows him the dinosaur. Grrr, dinosaur. George and Richard both giggle. Mummy Pig suggests, "George, can Richard play with your dinosaur?" "No," says George. Mummy Rabbit says, "Richard, can George play with your dinosaur?" Richard also refuses. George and Richard both don't want to share their dinosaurs. Mummy Rabbit gives both dinosaurs to George, but Richard starts to cry. Then Mummy Pig gives both dinosaurs to Richard, and George starts to cry. Peppa and Rebecca comes to see this. Peppa says, "George and Richard always cry when they play together." Mummy Rabbit says, "Can you two big girls teach them how to play together?" Sure. Peppa and Rebecca take George and Richard to the sand pit. The girls show their brothers how to make sand castles. See, they are making sand castles with the help of buckets. But what happens? George uses his spade to squash Richard's sandcastle, and Richard cries. Angrily, Richard uses his spade to squash George's sandcastle, and George cries as well. The game has not gone very well. Both Peppa and Rebecca are confused what to do next. Then Mummy Pig suggests that George and Richard both sit on the seesaw. So they play on the seesaw and they are happy right now. George goes up on the seesaw and Richard goes down. Then Richard goes up and George comes down. They both are playing together and are so happy. Now George likes Richard and Richard also likes George. They have become best friends. Who is your best friend? Please tell me the name of your best friend. Bye bye.